So this is basically how you guys should practice this chromatic scales. You can go to the website and download all the chromatic scales off my website. And here's basically how to practice these so you get some value out of it. A lot of guys think they know the chromatic scale. I've seen tons of players show me the chromatic scale like this. Not quite the chromatic scale, something close, but chromatic scale is every note. So from here to here is an octave, so it's all the notes in between. Okay, so that's the first exercise of the chromatic scale. So you want to start, I start on the first finger right here. So we go like that, hold the finger down, hold it down, now we're holding both of them down. Third finger, hold that one down. Now the fourth finger, hold that one down. So they're all held down. They're not doing this. Don't do that. Hold them down. And then go to the next fret, which would be the fifth fret. And hold it down, hold it down, hold it down, hold it down. Go to the next fret, which would be the ninth fret. Hold it down, hold it down, hold it down. So you're holding them on the string afterwards. Why do we do this? Well, it gives us really good technique, you know. So many guys play like this. They lift their fingers really high off the neck, off the fingerboard, and they never get as good as they could be if their fingers are all tight. The best technique is to have tight technique. Down, so your fingers are very, very close to the strings, not moving way far away from them, okay? And I stress this over and over again for decades with people, and only a few people really get it. And the ones that get it, you know, always end up tightening up their technique all the time. It's an ongoing process. It takes years and years to get it so it's all tight. There's so many guitarists out there who have taken lessons from me, and then 10 years later they come back and they tell me they're still working on keeping their technique all tight like that. It takes 10 years, 20 years to really hone it in, you know. It's really, really something you got to work at for a long period of time. It's not going to come overnight. Not going to come over in a few days or a few weeks. It's just something you just got to constantly think about. The classical guitarists just play this way all the time. The thumb behind the neck, curve all four fingers evenly, and they play with the tips of their fingers, you know. So many guys have commented and left me rude remarks and whatever over the past several years about thumb over the top of the neck, how this player or that player plays with the thumb up here, and you know, some famous guy, you know, will play this way and that way. So my explanation is all wrong, you know. I'm spreading disinformation. Nothing can be further from the truth. I'm not spreading disinformation at all. In fact, a lot of those guys at the time don't play that way because they have never had lessons. If they had proper lessons, they probably would dip in like that, down further like that, for playing classical style scales or classical style chord progressions. When you're playing rock and roll, here's the basic rule. If you're playing rock and roll, rock music uses pentatonic scales. Pentatonic scales are 2 notes per string, like this. Okay, when you got 2 notes per string, there's really not many rules about playing scales when there's 2 notes per string on electric. You can play with these 2 fingers. Clapton plays this way. Thumb over the top. Like that. That's fine because you know, you get a good grip. You get a good leverage on bending notes. Good vibrato. With your thumb over the top, you get a really good vibrato. Bending notes. See, my thumb goes over the top. And people saying, well, if you play classical, you can't bend notes like that, you know, it's all wrong. And they argue with me to the death, you know, but the point is I'm trying to make is they're missing the point. My point is always this. If it's 2 notes per string, use whatever technique you want. The problem with using the thumb over the top of the neck is when you go beyond 2 notes per string. Like if you go 3 notes on each string, like a scale like this. Well, if your thumb's up here, see what happens right away? It starts to become awkward. So what happens is guys who play that way, they experience this awkwardness, won't do it, won't play those kinds of scales. See what I'm saying? They shy away from it instead of go, wait a minute, that feels weird. I got to work through that. Anytime you see any really fast shredding guys do a lot of scale runs, you notice that they always drop into this more than anything else. Some guys will play, like that. But as soon as you got to go down to the bass notes, they got to drop down, right? Well, it's a flexible technique to go back and forth on electric, right? Classical guitars play really strict, with thumb back here like this, which is what I trained in with classical guitar and classical guitarists who've taught me that. And I teach that to all my students. It's classical guitar technique, 400 or 500 years old. Millions of guys have done it. They can't be wrong. It's nothing new. It's nothing extraordinary radical. It's just a standard, basic classical guitar left-hand technique. That's all it is. And that's what I teach everybody because it's more efficient to play this way for scales that are over 3 notes per string. If you're bending notes, playing blues, you don't need to use classical guitar technique. If you're just playing like... Any technique's fine. However, when you start to branch into more, I'd say more sophisticated forms of music that use 3 notes on each string or whatever, even metal, you'll find that if you bring your thumb down, it's much more efficient to execute the notes than it is with the thumb over the top. Now, I know there's going to be some guys who are going to argue and post comments and say, well, my teacher said this, or I saw John Petrucci and he plays like this, or I saw Steve Vai and he plays like this. Okay, in that case, go right ahead. I'm not stopping you from playing that way. Again, let me reiterate, I just show people classical guitar technique, which seems to work the best. All the great guitarists I like tend to play that way. Electric is kind of a hybrid thing over the past 100 years, so people go back and forth between this and this and this. I myself, when I play, I'm somewhere in between when I'm playing gigs. It's never 100% like this and never 100% like this. It's a moving target. It's always floating. And you have to allow yourself to get used to playing in different ways to do it that way. Allow yourself to get used to playing with different angles, on the neck to execute whatever musical idea that you're trying to come up with. If you're playing 3 notes per string, or 4 notes per string, the thumb behind the neck works the greatest. Thumb behind the middle finger, behind the neck, curve all 4 fingers evenly, play with the tips. Now, you don't want to have a straight pinky like this. That means this muscle never really develops. It's like going to be a weak muscle. The best way to develop that muscle is to curve it. And you curve it like that. So we're going to go through the chromatic scale sequences here, chromatic scale exercises. And I want you to send me a video on how you guys do them. I want you really to be steadfast in your practicing and try to apply this stuff and show me how it's done. That's how these lessons work. It's sort of a reciprocal. Okay, so chromatic scale going up the string, thumb behind the neck, first finger on the first fret. Okay, not any of these fingers are lifted off the neck, all right? None of them. They're all down. Lift up, go to the 5th fret. Lift up, go to the 9th fret. And you can keep going, go to the 13th fret. I like to go as far as I can, Depends on the instrument. Now you see when you get up here, look where my thumb is. It has to come up here. If I play down here, this type of instrument has a little horn right here. It gets in the way, right? Some Strats don't, some Tellys don't. Some Les Pauls you can get around a little easier. But you got to be flexible in your technique, man. You can't just try to stiffen out your technique. It's not going to work that way. Also, there's a lot of guys who play this way who bring their wrist way out here like this, trying to get it that way. Look at that angle. See, that's no good also. You don't want to have this swan. Forget the swan. Go straight like that. Have an angle straight. If you hold your arm out like this and wiggle your fingers, you find that that's much easier than holding it at an angle and trying to wiggle the fingers. That's really hard to do, isn't it? That's all crampy, right? Crappy and crampy. But straight, you can do it. So straight's like this, right? So how do we do it? We tilt the neck way up by our ear. Adjust your strap. Okay, you guys always tell people, for the angle, they ask me about the angle. Go Google pictures of Randy Rhoads. R-H-O-A-D-S, I think. And he's like this when he's playing classical form. He's got the neck almost pointing straight down, you know. That way you guys can low ride your guitars and tilt the neck up and look cool on stage. Jazz guys don't care about low riding, so we wear our guitars real high, you know. That's the whole point, is to keep it straight. So if your hand is straight, you know, if your guitar's out here like this, right? To keep it straight, your thumb comes up. See what's happening? Your thumb has to come up. McLaughlin, a lot of guys play that way, right? But if you tilt it up like that, you know, a lot of lever on the microphone now. If you tilt it up like that, for practicing, it'll really help your technique overall. Now, you practice with correct technique, and then when you go play with your band or you go rehearse, just play. You know, keep it in your mind. If you're really disciplined, you can concentrate on doing it at your rehearsals. But usually when you're playing with your band, just play. Just don't worry about it too much, because it can be a hindrance to be all concerned about it while you're trying to play music, because you're trying to focus now on something else. You're trying to focus on timing, you know, working with other players, getting everything down right. And you're trying to work on all these variables and playing in the band, you know, how loud and soft everything is. You're blending right with the sound. So your technique, that's just one more thing to add you got to think about. The more you think about it during practice, the less you have to think about it, because you think about it all the time. Technique is something you got to continually work out. I mean, I've worked at it, you know, my whole entire guitar playing life, which has been since I was probably 6 or 7 years old, you know, and that's pretty much, technique was something I had on my mind ever since I was about probably 15 or 16 years old. I had good guitar teachers who told me, you know, what I was doing was all wrong, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what you're doing. You got to do this, you got to do that. And I played for 10 years, 3-finger style, you know. And then after 10 years of playing, I was like maybe 16 or 17 years old. I had a teacher who said, you know, you got to change your style to play with 4 fingers if you want to play jazz. I go, 4 fingers? What do you mean? You know, ow, it hurts. You know, I didn't like doing it first. But it took me a long time to work that pinky in. All you guys are at an advantage now, where all the guitar players that you emulate are pretty much already trained, you know. The guys that I emulated when I was a teenager were all rock and roll and blues guys that basically had this 3- and 2-finger technique, you know. We're talking Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Alvin Lee, you know, all these really great players from the 60s and early 70s that I like. Robin Trower, Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore used all 4 fingers, though. He was classically trained, that's why. But everybody who wasn't classically trained played with a thumb over the top of the neck, 3-finger style, 2-finger style, like Clapton. So that was like acceptable, and that was the norm. That's how I thought you played, until I took some classical lessons and some jazz lessons from, you know, great teachers, and I was hipped to the classical idea. And then I started really studying it a lot, and then it became apparent after a while that, you know, it's a really much more efficient way to play. When I went to Berklee College of Music, everybody there tries to play like this almost all the time. And there's guys who even bend notes. They bend notes like this. They go to extremes to play with their thumb behind the neck. Now, the old joke about guys who play at Berklee is when they do a vibrato, they go like this. They move the guitar around, you know. So, that being the joke, we try to avoid that, you know, at all times. So my vibrato is a different kind of vibrato than that sort of classical. And of course the Berklee, you know, you gotta get all into it too, you know. Make it look like you're really into it for the crowd, you know. Anyway, talking about the technique for chromatic scales. So the chromatic scales are designed to help you build your technique. You build it up. You build up your technique with chromatic. And you also get used to hearing intervals that are half steps apart. Instead of just pentatonic, you get used to hearing notes that are half step. Tighter intervals that you get used to hearing. your thinking becomes more refined because of chromaticism. So we're going to play the first chromatic scale, thumb behind the neck, curve all 4 fingers evenly, go up the string like this. We'll just go up to the 16th fret for now, for the first week, month, whatever. We'll go back down, we go like this. We take off our fingers, we put them on the string at the same time, and peel them off. Now what we don't want to do is this. We don't want to go. Please don't do that. That's real sloppy. So many guys do that. I taught so many thousands of lessons where guys, I show them the chromatic scale and they come in. You know, it's atrocious to anybody who's studied really refined classical technique to watch somebody play with a total, hack technique like that. And I try to teach people not to do that. I come up against a lot of resistance on YouTube about that because there's so many famous rock guitar players who don't always, or who hardly play with a classical technique at all. And they cite that as proof that what I'm saying is utterly wrong. But it doesn't really matter that much to me anymore because I know that, it's just classical guitar technique on the left hand. And, 400 or 500 years of classical guitarists can't be wrong. If you guys want to see some really good technique, go on YouTube and, type in Segovia, type in Christopher Parkening, type in classical guitar and watch some of those guys play. I mean, their technique is uncannily tight. I mean, some of these guys are so good, your jaw will drop. You'll sit there in awe looking at how incredibly precise their technique is. And that's what we're trying for, just total precision, And it's a lifelong thing. You got to go precise at all times in your playing, And you should take pride in your technique. You should really think of it as something that you're polishing into a diamond, You're really always working on it. Forever and ever and ever. You're polishing. You're always polishing your technique. It's not something you just learn and then that's it, That's it. We're done. We can party now because I learned technique. No, it's something that's just constantly, a moving target. It's always, my technique is always backsliding myself. If I don't get enough time to play during the week, I backslide into this a lot really easily. It's because I started out playing that way when I was a kid. I started out playing like this, and I always grafted that style on top of it and I forced it. But if I get real lazy, I'll play this way, and I have to catch myself, and I do. But you guys have the advantages. You've already got icons and heroes that already play with really good technique, And I'm just trying to show you what the technique is and how to do it right without any misconception about how to do it. You guys take it or leave it, If you guys don't like these techniques, it's your call. You can abandon it if you want to. I've had people tell me that they can't do it after a year. Well, if you can't do it after a year, that's really too bad because, something's wrong here. Either you're not practicing it the right way or you're hardly practicing it enough. Or maybe, you have just like really bad coordination problems. Who knows? There's a million reasons that it could be that you can't get it down. But I've always found that with enough perseverance, you can pretty much get anything down. You just got to dig in and work harder at it for a longer period of time. That's basically the basic equation of getting good is, the perseverance factor is really got to be high. So these guys who, email me and send me notes and saying they tried the classical technique and they can't get it down after a year or it hurts their hands or whatever, you got to just figure out, whether you're doing it right or wrong or, something. I would suggest go get a really good classical teacher, There's a couple guys from a while ago that I was really adamant about getting them into taking classical guitar lessons because they had no teachers nearby that they could take lessons from. And they looked around for classical teachers and they talked to a few guys and people got really kind of miffed that they were wanting to learn classical and they were an electric player. And there's a lot of attitudes about electric players trying to learn classical by the classical guitar players and, basically said they're unavailable. They don't have time for this, And then, the point I was trying to make was if you could find a classical teacher, they'll teach you some really basic stuff, reading notes and stuff like that. But they'll also teach you this, how to properly hold your hand on the neck and the fingerboard. You know, if you don't like classical guitar, you don't have to stick with it forever, just a little while, so you get the idea on how to really do it right, you know, and you apply that to your music, you know, whether it's rock, metal, jazz, whatever you want, you know. You can apply these techniques to that. If you do a lot of blues and bending, you know, there's very little need for this classical technique, very little need at all, hardly any. In fact, you don't need to work on it at all if you just want to play blues. If you just want to play rock and roll, blues and stuff like that, it's really not that necessary. It's only really good if you want to play music that has a lot of soloing in it, a lot of improvisation, and you want to learn how to play really fast scales all over the neck. That's when this classical technique is really, really good to know. I mean, it's really important that you understand it. And the fight I get into with tons of guys is that they have so much ability and they can get so fast, and then I come along and say, you got to do classical for them. And I go, well, no, man, you know, John Petrucci plays this way, man, you know, all this. I go, you know, Petrucci is really one of the greatest players. But if you sat down and talked to him, you know, he might agree that, you know, hey, this is a really good way to practice, you know. I mean, if you were sitting in this room, I would ask him to his face and say, John, what do you think about playing with your thumb behind the neck all the time? I know a lot of guys are saying, you know, you play with your thumb over the top of the neck. You know, what's your take on that? You know, have you ever learned classical guitar? Have you ever studied it? And I'd be curious as to what he says. You know, same thing with Steve Vai, same thing with, you know, Yngwie, all these guys. I think Yngwie is primarily self-taught on guitar, and he had lessons on other instruments, which gave him all his musical ideas, like violin and piano. And I don't think he really had guitar lessons. He just figured it all out himself. So his technique is a real, you know, fluid technique with his thumb over the top. But you notice his angle is straight. He doesn't bend it. And he has classical ideas, but not classical technique. And, you know, you can work through whatever technique you have. If you have technique with your thumb over the top of the neck and you can play fast, you can work that. That can become your style. It's your call. But if you really want to perfect technique as an art, start studying classical guitarists and start watching them on YouTube and start watching how they move their hands around. Just keep at it every night. Just click on classical guitar. Christopher Parkening, Andres Segovia, you know, Narciso Yepes. All these brilliant classical players, you know, play this way. And that's what the basis of teaching technique is. We teach you how to play classical. You can modify it any way you want to later. Later after you get it down. Not immediately because you can't get it down, okay? Let me repeat that. You can modify it later, but stick with it. Stick to your guns and try to learn it. Don't modify it because you suck at it and you can't get it down, so you got to create an excuse as to why it's no good. There's so many people who do that too. You know, they can't play something, so they got to justify themselves some way, so they put it down, right? That's just the way things are with most people on the internet and in the world. Is you gotta just really work at something to get good at it, and it takes a lot more than 1 or 2 days of practicing it to get good at it. Believe me. But anyway, so we're doing the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale is going up like this and back down. So when you go back down, you peel the fingers off. Peel the fingers off. Peel the fingers off. Peel the fingers off. And we do that on all the strings. So we go. Go to the second string. Go to the third string. Keep going with the fourth string. Sounds like I got a buzzy fret. Okay, right there. And go back on the A string. that's step one, chromatic scale on each string. Now, the next step, using that chromatic scale on each string, is you get our handy friend, the metronome. Okay. I put my initials on here because I teach at a music store, and there's other guitar teachers there. Stuff's always getting mysteriously moved around. if you leave your lesson room and go out and get a drink or something, come back and somebody else is using your metronome. So we set it on 60 just to start. Okay, 60. We're going to do quarter notes. One note per beat, quarter notes. Actually, do it with me. So I'm going to count out 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here's where you really focus on looking at your fingers and seeing how tight you can keep them. You see how I lifted them off and placed them all at the same time? All right, that's one note per beat. That's 60. I did that Berkeley vibrato, huh? Remember, you got to close your eyes and act like you're all into it. Just always do that, right? Another rule of thumb is if you play a bad note, like if you hit a wrong note, don't wince. First thing you do, you stare at the bass player and look at him and go. And, you know, we've done that on gigs where somebody hits a wrong note, we just look at the bass player. And even the people in the audience automatically, they look at the bass player and they're like, that guy screwed up. So just remember that. Whenever you screw up, always get mad and look at the bass player like he messed up. And he'll just sit there and go, what? Meanwhile, the people in the audience will go, they're looking at the bass player going, that guy, that's the guy. He's the culprit. All right, so one note per beat, quarter notes at 60, right? What's after 1? Come on, math wizards. 2, right? 2 notes per beat. So 2 notes per beat, here's 1. Right? So 2 is going to be not too hard to figure out. So we're going to do 2 notes per beat. Eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Go to second string. All the strings. Okay, this is how you do it. Eighth notes. Wrap it up here, okay? Now, after eighth notes, that's 2 notes per beat. What's after 2 notes per beat? 3 notes per beat. What's 3 notes per beat? Well, every time I show a student that, they go, oh yeah, 3 notes per beat. No. Wrong. It's not that. It's 3 evenly spaced notes per beat. We call that a triplet. And a triplet, easiest way to remember, triple, triple, triplet, triplet, triple, 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 triple. Do Do it with me. Triple, triple. Now you'll see the picking. Something to really consider here. Down, up, 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 down, up. So many guys who do triplets when they first start, they can't grasp that. They always go down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. That's going to slow you down in the long run. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. For playing triplets, is very, very inefficient on one string. The only place that's efficient is if you do Frank Gambale style stuff, where you're doing what's called economy picking. And economy picking is where you're going on 3 notes on a string, you're going down, up, down, and the next string is also a down. So that's economy picking like this. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Now that's a specific art of economy picking that Frank Gambale is the best at. That's not what we're doing here. That's a whole other subject that I'm going to approach in another video. Don't get me wrong. You know, people are really fast at doing that. But what I want you guys to do here is know what you're doing and not do something by mistake because you don't know what you're doing. So we're focusing on the basics. Triplets, just down, up, 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 down, up. Okay, now, when you're doing the triplets, we want to go and pull up the page off the website. Chromatic triplet sequence. Okay. And it looks like this. Chromatic triplet sequence, okay? Now, is that going to be in focus? Okay. Chromatic triplet sequence. You see here I got 3 fingers are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, we have 4 fingers, right? So ultimately we want to play it with 4 fingers, but it's really hard at first to get used to playing triplets with 4 fingers because we got an odd finger, right? You play 3 notes and then the pinky, then the first 2, and then the third one and the pinky and the first one. You see what I'm saying? Like if you take 3 notes with 3 fingers, it's real easy, like this. And then take those same 3 fingers and go up to there. 4th fret. Then 7th fret. Then 10th fret. 3 fingers. And the reason we're doing this is so we hear and feel what triplets sound like with a chromatic scale. We want to ingrain the sound of the triplet. So many guys I show this to, and then they show them how to do it with 4 fingers, they go right back into a 4-note feel instead of a triplet feel because their brains didn't latch onto the triplet sound. And that's what's important here, is you got to really latch onto that sound of the triplet, the execution of the triplet. It's not 4 notes per beat. It's not this. It's triplets like this. Triple, triple, triple. So again, triple, 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 triple. You should be able to feel that triplet against one beat. Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Are you guys with me? Okay, so here we go. Triple. Now I'm only going to go to the 12th fret here just because we're just getting started on this, okay? Try not to make it too hard. All right? Okay, you guys able to do that? All right, that's with the first three fingers. Okay, good. Now, we're going to use these three fingers now. We're not going to use the index. We're going to use these three. Same thing, same exact exercise, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you with me? That's these three fingers now. Okay, you can also do other combinations of three fingers that really don't fit into a chromatic scale, but they're good exercises. It's a 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4, right? So it's like this. And then 1, 3, and 4. That's a whole other set of exercises though, but we'll stick to the chromatic scale for now. I'm just showing you. If you want to expand out, you can use those three fingers. So we did these three and we did these three, right? So now what we want to do is we want to play the triplet sequence with all four fingers. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to go 4, 1, 2. Then 3, 4, 1, and then 2, 3, 4. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, then 3, 4, 1. So I'm going to go 3, 4, 1. Then 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go. So the idea is you're playing the musical idea rather than playing an idea that is comfortable for your hands to do. And that is like really good musicianship. If you guys are learning musical passages and musical ideas, the music doesn't care what fingers you use, what hands shapes you got to use. The music is going to be the goal of what you want to do, and so your hands have to be able to play whatever comes across musically. So these exercises are designed to take you out of that guitaristic mold where everybody's doing things that are comfortable to them in their hands. And quite honestly, a lot of the music sounds cliche because of the hand shapes on the fingerboard create a certain repertoire of licks and chords and scales. Whereas if you just approach it from a strictly musical point of view, the hands aren't given much thought. It's just the music is given all the thought, and the hands have to play the music. So this scale, the chromatic triplet sequence with 4 fingers, is the start of doing that. Again, let's try it. 1, 2, triple, triple. You guys do it with me? Let's do it on all 6 strings. First string to 6th string and back. Ready? 1, 2, up to the 12th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Triple. Oh, I screwed up. Triple. Let's try that again. Okay, now we're going to go on the 6th string. Let's try it again. We're going from 6th string to 1st string. Ready? 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's 3 notes for B. That's triplets. All right. So now what's after triplets? What's after 3? 4 notes for B. What is that? 4 notes for B is 16th notes, right? Real easy. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. Okay? Ready? 1. We're at 60 on the metronome. If you guys can't keep up, that's okay. Lower it down to 40 and try doing it at 40, and then 45, and then 50, and then 55. Take a few days to do it. I hope you guys can keep up. It's not that hard. It's just a basic exercise of chromatic scale at 60 doing 16th notes, okay? Real basic stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, my mind was on something else. Should we try that again? All right, so now that's chromatic scale up to 16th notes. The next step is to go to a 5/8 pattern. Okay, 5/8 pattern is 5 notes per beat. So I'm going to slow the metronome down to 60, from 60 to 50. So 50, and then 5/8 over 50. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here's a 5/8 pattern. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with 4 fingers. Okay, so what's after 5? 6. Think of it as this. Triple, a triple, a triple, a triple, a triple, a triple. Now again, you can do the 3 fingers. Or 4 fingers. All right, so we're gonna do, 8th notes, 16th notes, triplets, 5s and 6s. Okay. You can go further. You can do 7. I don't want to cover that in this lesson because that's getting a little complicated. But that's the basic first way to practice chromatic scale. You get a metronome and you set it on 60 or 50, whatever you feel comfortable with, and you work 1 note per beat, 2 notes per beat, 3 notes per beat, 4 notes per beat, 5 notes per beat, and 6 notes per beat. You can go 7, 8, and 9 if you really get into it, and we'll cover that in later videos. But for now, 1 through 6 notes per beat is a really solid way to get some practicing done. The next step, beyond just doing the straight chromatic scale up 1 string, is the other exercises here, the chromatic across the strings. Okay, and chromatic across the strings, it can be played several different ways. The first way is like that one. We're going to start here at the 5th fret, and we're going to go across the strings towards ourselves, and then 1 more shift. So it's shift, don't shift, because the way the guitar is tuned, shift, 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 and then 1 more shift. So we're starting on the 5th fret, and we're ending on the 5th fret. And we can start over at the 5th fret and shift this way. Now we stretch, shift. So these 3 strings in a row, 1 finger behind each fret, with 1 extra note, this one right here. So it's going to be, now some guys play like this. They shift the pinky. I've seen both ways of being done. You pick. You decide. You decide which way you want to do it. I like this way. Okay, so that that's one way of looking at it. And of course, the best way is, of course, always get out your metronome. Right? We're going to put it on 60 again. And you want to do quarter notes? To get your technique down, we do quarter notes, right? Okay, what's after quarter notes? Eighth notes, right? How do we play eighth notes? Here's quarter notes. So that's one note per beat. So eighth notes is two notes per beat. Evenly spaced. And triplets are three notes per beat. And 16th notes are four notes per beat, right? Now, five notes per beat, I've heard them called quintuplets or five tuplets. Five per beat. I'm going to do that again so you guys can do it with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after 5 is 6, right? Okay, then after 6 is 7. And after 7 is 8. So that's even too, right? Keep hitting the second string, huh? All right. I'm not gonna go into 9 tonight, but another video lesson. Okay. Anyway, so we got the metronome at 60. We're doing chromatic across the strings. We did quarter notes. We did eighth notes. Eighth notes, right? After eighth notes, 2 per beat. we do 3 per beat, right? Triplets, chromatic scale. So we're going to go. I'll let you do it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Could you keep up with that? That's only a 60. Okay, triplets at 60. Next one is going to do, instead of 3 notes per beat, we're going to do 4 notes per beat, right? 16th notes, right? At 60, we're just going to go. Okay, you want to do 5? We'll try 5. Let's first dial in with 1 string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. Now, chromatic scale across the strings is 6. Okay, triple a 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 triple a. After 6, 7, see, it's hard, so you gotta slow down a bit. I'm gonna go down to 50. I'm gonna play 7. Now I couldn't do it because everybody knows I suck, right? We all suck. We have a uniform suck principle on our planet. Everybody here sucks. We just gotta do something about it. I suck, you suck, we all suck in our own different ways, you know? We're gonna try 7. There you go. Now the metronome's at 50, okay? Now you got to do this so you can feel the 7 first. Just try it on one string, open string, right? Try it for a minute, 30 seconds, whatever. Okay, feel confident with that? All right, here we go. Oh, see, it's hard. Not easy, huh? Now, I used to do these all the time. I don't hard practice them anymore at all, but I just teach them, okay? But anyway, you guys try 7, you know. Slow down even further, you know. Go down to 40. Here's 40. Here's 40. Slow. So 7's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You feel the 7 just with one string. You just sort of get into the groove of it and feel it, right? And you got to keep coming back to this. This doesn't happen and doesn't stay. It's just, you got to keep coming back every day to the feel of the 7s and 9s and 8s, 6s, 5s. Every day you got to come back to these and try them again, you know, boom, boom, boom. They got to sink in somehow. You can't just get it in one day. Some musicians are miraculously talented and they can just click on it and that's it. They got it for life. I'm not one of them. I don't know if you are, but you know, we just got to keep practicing this stuff until it really sinks in and we can finally figure out how to do it, right? Anyway, so here's 7 at 40 on the metronome, which is a super slow speed, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ready? Here we go. See? I screwed it. I totally screwed it up at the end there. It's hard to keep that going. Anyway, that's my point. 7's hard. I got to work on it some more. So I'm going to work on it. I'm going to stay a week ahead of you guys, all right? The old teacher trick, right? You know, teachers don't know anything. They just stay 1 week ahead of the class, right? Have you guys had teachers like that? Who's teaching a class and you know more than they do? Anyway, I just want you to get into the chromatic ideas here that, you know, you practice chromatic scales, whole bunch of new ways. And then the next thing is you want to do the chromatic scales across the strings. Okay, so we did them like this. Now the next two are on these sheets here. We got it here. These two, all right? The first one is a shift of the first finger. You can see it on there. Shift the first finger. So we're going to go like this. 5 notes per string. Shift that first finger. And the second one is shift the pinky. So it's like this. All right, so now we're going to put our metronome on again. Let's go back to 60. What are we doing? Eighth notes is 60. Eighth notes at 60, right? 1, 2, do it with me. Now you don't shift. notes. And what's after 2 notes per beat? Ah, triplets, right? Triplets using this weird 5-note per string pattern. You want to practice chromatic scales? Let's do the 5-note per string pattern and do triplets with all 4 fingers. Whoa! How are we going to do that? Triple, 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 triple. All right, that 4 notes per beat, 16th notes. 1, 2, 3 E and 4 E and. Okay, you want to be brave and try 5? Notice I always go to the single string first. Single string. I use the first string. First string first. Anyway, so you get it, you hear the pattern in your head. You hear the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you guys have been away from it for a few days and you come back and you try to do 5 and you can't quite imagine it, this is why we got to stick with it every day, because these things get ingrained into us after you do it over and over and over and over and over a million times, right? So 5, you got to come back to it with a single string. When you feel like you got it, then try the scale like this. That's 5 on the chromatic scale. Okay, now after 5 is 6, right? Triple, a triple, a triple, a triple, a triple, a triple, a. Go back to the single string to hear the beat, hear the rhythm of it. Ready? 2, 3, 4. All right, after 6, should we try 7? At 60, maybe 50, huh? Do 7 at 50. Let's do down to 50. 50 on here. Now we can sort of do 7. Single string, right? Lock in. All right, I got locked in there, so pretty much. So let's try it. 2, 3, 4. Try it again. 3, 4. Ah. Pretty weak, huh? Yeah, I suck. All right. I just want to teach you guys how to do this stuff, you know. I like practicing this stuff when I get some time. I don't really have much time, but, you know, I like practicing all these crazy 7s and 8s and 9s on scales. It's really, for me, it's a challenge and a half, you know. I'm sure for you guys who've never done it before, it's just mind-boggling, huh? But that's the point of this lesson, is you take your scales that you already know, and we're going to polish them up with some musicianship here. Tighten up the technique, tighten up the timing, learn how to play 1 note per beat, 2 notes per beat, 3 notes per beat, 4 notes per beat, 5 notes per beat, 6 notes per beat, 7 notes per beat. Got to learn how to do all that if you want to be a good musician, okay? And not just the heavy metal guys do that. I mean, talking about jazz, classical, all these guys know how to play in different timings. So it's real important that you start dabbling in this now and start working towards it. If you can't do it, that's okay. It takes a while, you know, get into it, you know, become aware of it. You know, once you're aware of it, you're like, damn, that shit is hard, man. Wow, yeah, it is, huh? I can't do it, and I've been playing my whole life, you know. And I can do I can do the hobo version of this stuff most of the time, just to fake it enough to be ahead of the class, right? 1 week ahead of the class, remember the teacher's rule? So we're doing 7, and then the next chromatic scale is shift to the pinky. So that's the same stuff. It's just shifting the pinky to the index finger like this. So all the same things apply. 8th notes, triplets, 16ths, 5/8, you know, quintuplets, 5-tuplets, quintuplets, 5/8, whatever you want to call it. 6/8, or, you know, 12/8 pattern, whatever you want to call it. All those chromatic ways to play the chromatic scale. There's one last way of playing the chromatic scale, and that is with 6 notes per string. So we play it like this, starting on F, and we have a shift here, and 4 notes, and then 1 more shift. So we're shifting the bookends here, both bookends of the chromatic scale, like this. So 6 notes on each string, so it looks like this. So I want you to work on that too, the 6 note per string. Now the next step is you want to do chromatic 3-note sequences, and chromatic 4-note sequences, and chromatic 5-note sequences. So what you do is you take a scale like chromatic across, a 5-note pattern like this, and you do a 3-note sequence like this. 3 notes, then the next 3 notes, next 3 notes, the next 3 notes, the next 3 notes, the next 3 notes, the next 3, next 3, next 3, and then so on. and 4-note sequences. Are you with me on that? Those are not easy. And a lot of sax players like to play those. One of my favorite sax players from Norway, Jan Gabrick, he plays a lot of those chromatic sequences like that. There's books and books and books of that stuff that exist. You can research a little bit, look up scales and melodic patterns. But the chromatic scale is a whole other animal when it comes to those kind of melodic patterns, because nobody practices that stuff except jazz guys and really advanced classical players will practice chromatic sequences. But we're starting out here with just some basic chromatic scale stuff. And this is the gaps that you had in your knowledge before this, which are getting filled in rather quickly, I assume. So anyway, I want you to practice the chromatic scale, chromatic going across the strings. Try the 3-note triplet and the 3-note pattern and the 4-note pattern. Let's try the 3-note pattern like this. I screwed it up. Anyway, do the 3-note pattern and the 4-note pattern, I keep screwing up. A terrible teacher, huh? Anyway, chromatic scales that way, and then the next exercise is a chromatic shifting pattern. The chromatic shifting pattern was taught to me by Joe Sandino, one of my early guitar teachers. And he used to teach everybody that pattern, and there was a lot of students who could play it. And we always used to sort of sit around school, and people got jam on the chromatic, not jam on it, but just practice the chromatic shifting pattern. The way that works is, first of all, you want to download the file, chromatic shifting pattern, off my website. And okay, the chromatic shifting pattern, it looks like this. All right? Now, the first step is I want you to read the whole thing. Just read this, okay? Think about what you're reading to. Start with the first finger, keeping all 4 fingers locked onto the string immediately after placing them. Go up 4, shift, and then keep all 4 fingers curved, keep them placed on the string, and then shift up 1 fret. Pull fingers off one at a time in a downward motion while descending. So we're going to go up 4. Then we're going to shift and go down 4. That's the motion. So up 4, shift, down 4. Shift. Now we shift again and go up 4. We shift again, down 4. Shift, go up 4. Shift, down 4. Shift, up 4. Shift, down 4. So it's like this. Shift, 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 shift. So, you got so up 4. shift, down 4, shift, up 4, 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 shift, down 4. That's called a chromatic shifting pattern. Now what I want you to do is you do it on one string and just get used to the movement. Now all 4 fingers curved evenly, right? Thumb behind the neck. When I pull the finger off the string, I pull it into the hand in a very mechanical motion like that. Do it on all the strings. Now going down, you want to go shift down, go down 4, shift down again, go up 4, shift down, go down 4, shift down again, up 4, shift down, down 4, shift down again, shift down again, shift, 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 shift. So it's shift, it's like this, regular, shift, 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 shift. Okay, we'll go on all 6 strings we want. All right, that's the chromatic shifting pattern, okay? I want you to practice that, and then we can do, triplets, 16th notes, 5 tuplets, 32nd notes, anything you want on it. The next chromatic exercise is a chromatic movement pattern. So go to my website and download chromatic movement patterns, and what you get is they're 4-note patterns, and they're not chromatic scales, they're chromatic patterns, okay? So we're going to go up 4, and we'll just keep going up 1 fret at a time like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is a perfect opportunity to really hone in on your technique because it's a real easy pattern to memorize. Going up 4 at a time. It's 4 notes, big deal. But the trick is to keep the thumb back there, play with the fingertips. And this is the opportunity for you to do that. Just use this exercise. Also, when you're backstage with your band and you're about to go on stage and your band's going to play and you're back there warming up, this is a really good exercise because you don't have to really think too much. And in other words, all your buddies can go backstage and conduct a conversation and try talking to you while you can warm up. You can go like this. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So we're working the muscles without having to worry about what we're doing. So that's the chromatic movement pattern. We go up 4 notes, one fret at a time, like this. Now everybody makes a mistake when they go back down. They go like this. We're not doing it that way. We're doing the same 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, going down like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, both directions. Okay, you get the idea there? Okay, now that's going up and down the string. We can go across the strings too, like this. up 1 fret at a time, like this. It's going across strings. Now the next two ways, you can go up the string at an angle from the 6th string to the 1st string, and back from the 1st string to the 6th string in the same pattern. Now we can go the opposite way. We can go from the 1st string to the 6th string this way. And back. Okay, now that's with 4 notes. A good way to practice that also is with 3 notes. You use these 3 fingers going up. These 3 fingers, 2, 3, and 4. These 3 fingers, 1, 2, and 4. One, 3, and 4. Okay, then you go across. Okay, then go at an angle. You can go at an angle like this. The other angle. Okay, now we'll take 4 fingers again. We're going to go at an angle. When we get up to there, we're going to go back the other angle. So these are called spirals. So you're going to go up like this. Up the neck this way, down the neck that way, up the neck this way again. Okay? Again. Okay. Now you can go back down, you know. And use 3 fingers. So this is some of the ways you can move around with the chromatic ideas, okay? Up the string, down the string, across the strings, at an angle, the other angle, reverse angle from 1 to 6, 6 to 1, combined together into spirals, okay? And that's all for just technique exercises and ability to move around.